Okay, well, so with your story now, I had a question before, but I think you've answered it, because I was going to ask, like, why voiceover acting now, right? Like, because you have all of these things you said you are good at, but why? So, for example, you say you sing, you like to talk and all of that. So why not be a speaker, or a singer? You could be one of our Yemi Alades or but then you chose this. I mean, you could actually be a public relation officer somewhere, because this is what you studied. You have a master in that. Why are you zoning in on vocal, like voiceover?
Okay, from a very young age, I discovered that I love to use my voice, but I just felt, how your parents just have a way of trying to cajole you into doing some kind of professions that they feel are much more responsible or secure. That's the word. Yeah. So, what do you want to become? I want to become a doctor. Oh, yes, that's my, what do you want to be? So, I always had the passion. Like when I was a child, I used to use baby dolls to act. I'm sure a lot of people did that anyway. So, but I used to use, come here. Yeah,
and you do your voice, voice
the voicing, yeah. And then at some point, obviously after my master's degree, before I made the decision that I was going to use my voice to do, voice acting and whatnot, I had to come to a place of truth. I had to come to a place of truth that what is it that I'm most passionate about, because at some point I was confused, and somebody told me that I had this counselor at the church at that time, who was telling me that sometimes when you're able to do so many things, you get confused. You don't know what path to go on. You don't know what to choose. True. You don't know how to go about it. But then again, you just have to come to a place of truth. Like what talent,
which of them
which
gets
one
you
really appeals to you the most? How do you think you can actually develop, that ability? And what do you think? How do you think you can make the most of it? And after I checked, everything, I just realized that I have a voice and I can use it, and I can inspire the world with it, and I can do great things with it. So I was determined to start all over again.
And to just zone in on that one thing.
I had to start all over again. So sometimes even when people ask me, they say, do voiceovers pay in Nigeria? Like, why voiceovers? Like, how can you settle for something that may not be paying you a lot or something?
Yeah,
exactly. And then I try to make them realize that there's more to a craft than just being able to do it. It's like a full-time job. You have a lot of work to do. You have to reach out to people. You have to make connections. You have to plot strategies, ideas. So it's like you never really stop working. It's not just about people calling you to do jobs and stuff. You have to create opportunities for yourself. You have to put strategies in place. You have to think about how to put content together. It's a whole lot of work. So you have a lot.
It's a full-time job on its own.
You have a major responsibility on your hands, and that's basically it. As with any other profession, it's not really just about being able to have the talent to do it. What are you going to do with the talent? How are you going to continue? What other areas do you think you can apply? To like, for example, voiceover. For example, it's not just about using the voice. You have to apply other skills like branding, marketing, digital marketing.
Being in a digital space,
being able to create stuff, graphic designing. So at the end of the day, because we live in a very visual world right now, the new audience, they always want to see stuff. I'm a voiceover artist. I'm more heard than seen. But the thing is, now I have to think about merging audio with videos, with pictures, just so I can
to get attention. And then
so that's it. So you have to know who your audience really are. You have to keep researching. You have to keep thinking of new ways to create things. You can't always do the same thing and expect to get better results. So you always just have to keep evolving, exploring your talent, checking new ways to make it better and all of that. So there's always work to do. There's always work to do. It never really ends.
So then how do you cope then? Looking at, say, the Nigerian industry, where it's not like the voiceover industry has been there for a while now. And I know that to an extent, yes, there is money in it, but like you have to have worked yourself out to be able to get to that level where you can charge certain amount for it. How do you then cope with, the small amount of money coming in compared to the lot of work that you're putting in? How do you balance that?
Okay. So the thing is, like I said, you have to, on your own, you have to try to create your own, you have to explore your creativity to the extent that you are not taking yourself out of the equation, right? So there are certain people that contact you and say, oh, I want you to do a voiceover for me. Agencies, private institutions, they probably will send you a message every now and then. Oh, can I have your rates? I would like to know how much you charge for this and that. But the thing is, you can't always keep waiting for these guys to contact you. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is that there are so many voiceover talents that that are earning a lot of money, that are not necessarily having that online presence. They are not on social media, but then they're still doing well because they've probably been in the game for so long. They know what strategies that they're putting in place to get their customers. They're making their connections tighter than how it was many years ago. So they have their strategies in place. But one thing I've discovered, and I'm not just saying it because it has worked for me, but I feel it's very important for people to do it, is that visibility helps you. If you're a voiceover artist, if people don't know, if they don't see your work, if they don't know that, if they don't hear what you sound like, if they don't know what you do, they can't contract you to do jobs for them. Sure. Even though you are doing your own work, maybe on the side, outside of social media, and you're contacting people, you still need to make yourself, you still need to project yourself in such a way that you can get international callbacks from you. You can get international calls. You can get people from all parts of the world to contact you, because the internet has made the world a global village.
Yeah, very true.
So gone are the days where you probably have to go through an agent to speak to whoever. They can contact you directly by using the internet. So
actually,
visibility
it's easier for some of them, because like it cuts out all the politics in the agency, and they get the job done. It's faster, it's straight to the point, their negotiation is better. So so the more you put yourself out there.
Most voiceover talents have like a home studio. You have your gear, you have your computer, you have your microphone. So all you have to do is just get contracted for the job and do it the way they've asked you to do it, and then you send the work to them. So visibility helps you. And as a person, whether you're a business or you're an individual, it is always best to build your brand, build your craft into a brand, because that's actually what will make you identified for what you do, is what will make you stand out. So if you discover that when you build yourself as a brand, it helps you grow professionally. It helps you grow in all ramifications of the craft itself. You're updating your knowledge, you're getting information to do the right things, you're getting constructive criticism, you're applying all that you're learning into what you're doing. It's visibility really helps you, and then making that decision to build your brand, build your craft into a brand, it really, really helps you. It's very, very useful.
I like that one. We're going to quote you on that one. Build your craft into a brand. Very, very important. Guys, I hope you're enjoying the session. If you are, you can say a word in the chat section. Let's see and know that you're here and enjoying. And also, if you have a question for Steph, please type it in the chat session. I'm going to ask, what are some trends you have seen today among creatives that you think they should leave? Like some trends that you think they should just cut it out. It won't cut it for them. It won't take them anywhere.
I think basically just doing the same thing over and over again.
Speak to
doing
me.
the same.
I think I'm on that table. Shake it.
No. The thing is, there are, as a creative person, or as a person, because this I just even learned recently that when people say I'm a creative, it's kind of cliche in a way, because as human beings we are all meant to be creative. We're all creative.
That's both.
I have met doctors that play the guitar. I have met people. I have met medical doctors that play the guitar. I have met engineers that sketch. Oscar Onyison, for example, is a great voice talent, radio broadcaster, voice talent. He studied engineering, So, I mean, anybody could actually make a decision to, you know, pick up a new skill and, you know, apply
And get
themselves
better at it,
and get better, you know. But then the thing now is, how are you able to apply yourself? You know, how are you able to apply yourself? You can attend so many trainings. You can attend so many, whether free or paid trainings. You can do as many live sessions as you want to engage in. But if you do not apply yourself, you're not going to get results.
What do you mean? Can you expatiate a little bit on applying yourself? How does someone apply themselves?
Okay. Applying yourself means using what is available to you, you know, making the most of what is available to you, learning, putting your learning into practice. So for example, let's just say this is a master class. I'm learning from you and I'm saying, oh, I'm here to learn this and that and that. And then I've listened to you. I've probably even taken notes. And then at the end of the day, I drop the notes and I'm not making use of it. You know, it's just, it just means that you are not actually ready to develop a course of action, right? So the best thing to do, when I mean apply yourself, it means develop a plan. How do you want to go about what you want to do, you know? And so many people always say, oh, I'm not a good writer. I don't know how to put my business idea together. I do not know how to do, you know, certain things. So how do you go about it? You start writing, you journal, you form the habit of journaling. It's very, very important. You take a book, you get a creative book or a jotter or something, and you start writing. Who do I want to talk to? Who are my audience? What do I need to, what do I really want to say? What do I want to achieve? What goals do I want to achieve? Long term, short term. What kind of goals do I want to achieve? Who do I want to talk to? Do I need to buy equipment? You know, where and when can I execute this strategy? You know, so when you write it, it helps you to be accountable to your actions. It helps you to start to develop practical ideas on how to go about it. And the truth of the matter is sometimes we are carried away by so many distractions that we have to break a bank. We have to buy the most expensive equipment. We need to hire the most expensive consultant. We need to, which is actually not a bad idea. I mean, if you really can afford to, there's no problem. But you can use what you
accelerates your movements. But if not,
you can use what you have. You can use what is available to you. You know, for the meantime, you can use what is available to you. When I started doing voiceovers, I didn't even have a smartphone then, but I was able to gather some money. I was able to gather some money to buy a Techno Spark. You understand? A Techno Spark phone. I bought that phone for 30,000 naira. And to me, that phone was everything. Like when I mean everything, it was my most expensive device. It was, I don't even think it was because I had no other option. I think I was just, it came from a place of satisfaction. I was just satisfied that this device I have
is going to work.
It's going to work for me, you know, whether I believe it or not, it's going to work for me. And people were shocked. I used to make very clean, I used to achieve very clean recordings with that phone.
This was when?
This was in 2017 after my training.
Can you imagine that? And now with the kind of phones, with the amount of tech in phones now, like people don't know that
what I'm saying?
Like machines.
I didn't have a studio. So I used to use my wardrobe, you know. The clothes in your wardrobe serve as good sound treatment.
Nice.
I would position the phone in such a manner that I wouldn't make pop sounds, because sometimes when you're recording that
the P that it's
the pop sounds, you know, it can actually interfere with the sound of your recording. So I would position the phone in such a way that it will the sound will come out clean and clear and crisp, right? And when people would hear it, they'll be like, "Oh, this is so nice." And when I tell them I use my phone to record it, they're like, "No way! Oh wow!" So you can use what is available to you. There are apps that you can download online. I use videos, you know, because like I said, we live in a very visual community now. Everybody wants to see what you're doing, even if you're in the business of being heard. If you look at radio stations these days, if you look at podcasters, they have virtual, you know, they have cameras, they have webcams, you know, that record them while they are recording, while they are talking on the radio, you know. So because people actually want to see, they want to see activities, they want to see what you're doing. So I feel that you being able to use all these things, all these apps, find out what apps you can use, video apps, Canva. If you don't know how to design, just recently I was thinking, oh, how can I create a poster? Or I want to create an IG live session. And a friend told me, why don't you use Canva? And I'm like, but I'm not a graphic designer. Or I don't know how to design all these things. And I'm like, so I was like, well, there's always a first time. Let's see. And I went on Canva and I just started, trying to create stuff, with the phone and all of that. And I was able to come up with something, so sometimes the applying yourself means taking that bold step to try. Taking that bold step to try. And the truth of the matter is you won't be able to apply yourself if you don't conquer your fear. Because most times you're like, oh, how do I start? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go about it. I'm scared. I don't know what people will think about it. People may not like my posts. I may just have one like. People may not, resonate with my posts. So you need to conquer your fear first. If you don't conquer your fear, you will not be able to take that bold step to even try. You won't be able to apply yourself at all. So applying yourself, before you get to the stage of applying yourself, you need to be proactive.
Conquer.
Oh, Titi says she can't hear what I'm saying. Titi, can you hear me now?
Use the dial in. So join with audio.
Okay. Right. So before you apply yourself, you need to conquer your fear first. Tell yourself the worst case scenario. Lecture yourself, by telling yourself that, oh, people may reject me, which is a fact. You may get rejections.
It's not may. You will.
You will.
So the earlier you know that, the better for you. Just start building capacity to accept rejection and know that most times rejection is not even about you. It could be about them. Exactly. Like you said, if you know where you're going, then you're able to go past those rejections and like, okay, if they are saying no to me today, why are they saying no? Maybe I need to work more. So if you know that it's not always about you and you've tried your best, you move on because there are other people that appreciate what you're doing. So you focus on the people that appreciate you or accept you than just dwell on the people who are rejecting you. Otherwise, you just be stuck.
Exactly. So you need to give yourself that lecture, that have that intrapersonal communication with yourself that people are going to reject me. People may not like my posts. It's not going to be rosy from the beginning. I may have like some setbacks with, how I'm able to even start off well and, put my feet on the ground well for it to be solid. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have rejections. People may not like your posts. It's not going to be rosy from the beginning, but then how are you able to just come to that decision, to start, So you need to conquer your fear first. If you don't conquer your fear, it means that you're not quite ready.
Not ready.
Because even when you start and you feel, oh yes, I'm going to apply myself, even though I'm still scared, you will easily give up. That's the truth. You will easily give up. If you do not conquer your fear from the beginning, even when you start, it's easy for you to just say, I beg, this voice over self, it's not even paying, I beg. You stop. And then when you give up, that's it. That will be the end. And the truth of the matter is that when we even have a case study of the most successful people in the world, you discover that they all had like rough patches while starting. Practically all of them had rough patches while starting. I was listening to the story of John Baker. She's a voiceover coach and voiceover talent. She's in the performing arts. And she's the founder of the Sovas Awards, which is like the Grammys for voiceover talents in America. When she shared her story last week, it brought me to a place of reasoning. And I started to think to myself that sometimes we think, oh, because we're in Nigeria, we are suffering. We don't have light. We don't have, we're not as advantaged as some other people in the other parts of the world. But when she shared her story, I was able to understand, I was able to come to a place of reasoning to think that being rejected is not peculiar to some people. It's not about race or it can happen to anybody. She said she's mixed race, right? And so she was saying that it was a big problem for her because they didn't know what to do with her. They said she was too brown skinned, they didn't know what to do with her. So can you imagine? It's not as if she's not talented though. They're saying they just didn't know what to
the way she looked.
So just even hearing that, sometimes people tell you that, oh, we can't take you because you're too dark, you're too dark skinned, or you're not good enough, or your voice is not this deep, or she was, how rejection was because she was mixed race. Imagine that.
Wow.
So, you know, if you don't, but then she was determined to move, to press on. Exactly. So that's the thing. If you listen to, this is not just me just saying, oh, let's have this conversation. If you check it yourself, many successful people in the world, Dangote, you know, Bill Gates, they all had their rough beginnings.
Very true.
Some companies started in a garage, they started in a basement, and then they started building until they started, you know, getting
expanding and
a better accommodation to do their work and all of that. So you have to conquer your fear first, and then passion. You have to develop passion for the craft.
How do you do that?
That's the fuel to keep you going. Okay, so you like to do something, right? So you like to do something, but it's not enough. Talent is not always just enough. And that's why I said, when you conquer your fear, you are brave enough to know that when you get rejections, it's okay. And then what do? You try again. You know, you try again. When Tokoni Peterside, the founder of ArtX, shared her story last year, I was at some event where she was sharing her story. Even her father told her no.
Wow.
Her own father that gave birth to her told her no. And the Lagos state government rejected her proposal and all of that. But she went back, massive. She put everything together, and she applied again, and they accepted it eventually. You know, some people won't pay attention to you until they see that you've started doing the right things, you know, that you started taking a bold step to achieve your goals. Then they cannot pay attention to you. But then when you're passionate about something, you keep an open mind to creativity. For example, okay, we're talking about all-round creativity now, pertaining to different crafts, whether you're a voiceover talent, or you're a graphic designer, or you're a musician and whatnot. The way to develop your passion is to keep an open mind to creativity. There's no one way to achieving, you know, everything. For example, as a voiceover talent, I have just said that I use videos to create, you know, to merge audio, because we live in a visual society. So I want to be able to use my passion to merge that with creativity, to create valuable content, you know, and appreciable content to people. So there's so many things you can use. You can use memes, you can use infographics, you can use GIFs, you can use stories. So for example, even if I don't even know what to say, maybe I want to create a podcast, or I want to create content and I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to go about it, I can go to my stories. There are polls. Hi guys, what kind of stories do you want to listen to?
Hear?
Would you like me to do this? Yes or no? You see the percentage of people that will say yes. You see the percentage of people that will say no. You understand? So your feedback aligns with your passion to create. You know, even if people say no, we don't want to hear this, you already know that you've conquered your fear. So you don't need people to, you don't need 100% yes for you to know the next step to take, because people have told you that this is what we want to see, this is what we want to hear. So how can you now make use of that feedback that you have gotten to create? Do you understand? So that's basically it. Your passion encompasses so many things. It's not just, it is not enough to just have the talent. If you're not applying creativity to that talent, if you're not being intentional about applying creativity and so many other things to that, in addition to that talent, then you're not going to get desirable results. You know, you keep getting the same results over and over again, you know. And then again, you can't do it yourself. There's some things that you want to achieve, but you discover that, oh, you can't do everything on your own. So what do? You reach out to people.
Collaborate.
And that's where developing a plan comes in. That's where developing a plan comes in, you know. Developing a plan means that there's a formula, you know, for developing a plan to the execution stage. So you research. When you research, you start going online to find out, oh, what's going on, you know. How can maybe if I want to become a voiceover artist, how do I go about it? Is it a lucrative business? What do I need to do? You start researching. After researching, you come to the ideation stage, where you begin to put all your discoveries into consideration. You try to strategize. You're like, oh, how can I put my research into practice? So the second stage is the ideation stage. You're already beginning to put all your discoveries into practice. That, oh, okay, I've discovered this. So this is how I'm going to, these are the ideas I have now. And that's why I said you don't have to be a writer to develop, to organize your thoughts. Some people are lazy. Some people just say, oh, I'm a lazy writer, which I understand very well, you know, because I'm a lazy reader. I prefer to listen to audiobooks and to watch the movie than for me to start flipping hundreds
Through
of
the
pages
paper.
and reading. The only reason why I like to read is because I get to pick new words, and it helps my vocabulary. You understand? That's the only reason why I can tell you that I can afford to try to read, because it improves my vocabulary and my sense of reasoning. It takes me out of a place of ignorance and just, puts me in a place where I'm able to be open-minded to knowledge and gaining information. So that's one of the good things about reading. But then when it comes to writing, you don't have to be a good writer. You don't have to be the best writer there is. You can use bullet points to organize your thoughts. So for example, if I go to the market today and I probably want to gain inspiration from that scene, from the scene, from that scenario, and I'm like, oh, how can I create content? I don't necessarily have to say I got to the market around 8 p.m. today. And when I got here, the women were carrying their baskets elegantly on their heads. And I don't have to go all spoken word on anybody. I can just take a book. I can just take my creative book or my phone and start taking bullet points. Baskets of tomatoes, abattoir, those guys that slaughter meat. Do you understand? I can just start writing bullet points. And the way we were taught to write back in school was the introduction, the body and conclusion. It's a very, very practical way of writing. You understand? It's still very applicable. It may be basic, but it's still very, very applicable. And there is actually no structure. You can even start the other way. You can use a reverse approach. You can start with the conclusion. And move to the body,
then
go to the intro. So
that's where creativity comes in, mix and match.
You have to learn to disrupt. If you keep doing introduction, body, conclusion all the time, people will just
boring.
Be like,
we know.
So you have to find other ways to keep evolving, keep creating. So you develop a plan by researching the ideation stage, and then you go further to the stage of publishing. Publishing your content. That's when you know how you're going to create the content. That's from your ideas now. How are you going to put your content into use? How are you going to publish it? Are you going to use just audio? Are you going to merge audio with video? Are you going to use memes to do it? How do you want to post this? What platforms are you going to post this? Are you going to post it on Facebook? Are you going to post it on LinkedIn? Sometimes you underestimate the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very important.
I know.
My fellow voiceover colleagues have told me how they've gotten jobs
on LinkedIn,
including myself. When I eventually started paying attention to LinkedIn, I got an offer one time, a voiceover job. So you have to ensure that you make use of what is available to you.
Apply yourself
and start using all these platforms. How are you going to publish your content? How often do you want to publish your content? Do you want to do motivational Monday, talk Tuesday, wind back Wednesday, throwback Thursday? How many posts do you want to do in a week?
In a day, in a week.
What is the velocity? How many posts do you want to create a week? So it helps you when you get to the publishing stage. Then the next stage is the evaluation stage. That's when you begin to analyze everything that you've, what is working. Now, I have a business page. Most creatives have a business page, right? So when you have a business page, you see insights there.
Yeah.
You see how many people have been able to engage with that post, how many profile visits you have, how many males and females are engaging with your post, and from what age. Yeah. So the people that engage with my post, they are from, they are from, interestingly, they are from 16.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
16 years of age to 65 years of age.
Oh, wow, that's a wide range.
But then the percentage of the demographics of people that engage with my posts are from 18 to 35.
Okay.
So that demographic bracket has the highest percentage, of engagement with my posts. Mostly female. Mostly female. So all these things give you an idea of, what to create and, the feedback and everything and how you can improve on your posts. And then most times you have to look at your comment section and see what's going on there. Some people will suggest to you, you just have to keep an open mind. You have to be very receptive to everything that's happening around you. Sometimes people will tell you, oh, Ejiro, more of this, please write more. Please ensure that you write more, that's because it's like winning souls. This whole content creation thing is like you're winning souls. You see people that want to engage with your posts. Even when you come across content like that, you are happy because you know that people want to look forward to the next one.
The next one.
So they can give you hints. They can tell you, please keep writing more.